never, ever fails to be a bopper, does that one. Thank you to the countdown music for bringing the vibes once more on what is a beautiful Tuesday. It is Tuesday. Team lists are out, and that can only mean that myself and Luke will be going to the best of our ability through the teams, giving you our picks, our tips, going through all the news in what is a heavily reduced NRL round this week. But nevertheless, we are back for it. We are here for it. It will be a shortened show because, let's be honest, you can only tolerate us two waffling for as long as you can. With that, mate, how are you?
Yeah, good, mate. It's been a bloody hectic day in the world of rugby league, not only in Australia but all around the world. Yeah, it's a short week this week with bye round and Origin next week, but it's going to be a good one. How are you, mate?
I'm very good, mate, and with that as well, we'll get into the news that of course David Fafita will miss Origin. We've literally just put that up on the CKM Red socials. If you are following along there, if you're not, you should be. You're missing out on a good time. But you are here joining us right now, and with that, we will take you through the NRL news, and we'll start with the Seagulls versus the Raiders. Plenty of Origin enforced changes in both sides. Of course, the Seagulls will be without Tom Trbojevic this week, so Garrick will slot in at fullback. Your backs are Saab, Parker, Harper, Sully, Foran in the 6, with Dylan Walker now dropping into the 7, with Daly Cherry Evans, of course, on rep duty. Paseka in the 8. Croker keeping his spot in the 9, despite the fact that Cade Cust is included in the 14 jersey. It's good to see him back, and he'll be getting a fair shout. Of course, there is one Trbojevic in the lineup this week. That is Ben. He'll be in the 15 shirt, and then it's DeLuise and Sipley in the 16 and 17, respectively, as they were. As for the Raiders, Xavier Savage, the exciting prospect that he is, he will be running out in the number 1 shirt for the Raiders. Croker is back in the centres. He'll be in the number 3 shirt this week, with Seb Chris in the 4. Rapana out on the wing with Frawley replacing Whiting in the 6. Sam Williams keeping his spot in the 7. Gula in as your prop with Louis partnering in. Hodgson in the 9 shirt. Harawira-Nara and Hudson Young in 11 and 12, with Sutton in the 13, Starling, Ryan James, Sia Soliola and Joseph Tarpanay in the 17. I don't fancy this game one bit. I really don't. It's going to be an absolute horror show, is this one. I mean, the Seagulls have been good. They proved that they can do it without Turbo Tom at the back when they ran up a decent score just a couple of weeks ago without him. We talked about how they needed to do that and how it needed to be done to really silence some of them critics and show that if Trbojevic has a bad game, the Seagulls still turn up. They did. I just question how Garrett goes in the 1 shirt. We've seen him play a little bit of fullback in his time. He's serviceable. He does the job. It just doesn't fill me with the greatest of confidence. But then again, who do you slot in there? You've got Big Moses Sully on the wing as well. Big winger, that's frightening, is that? I mean, we talk about Greg Marzio at the Titans and being a big winger, but Moses Sully on the wing. If I turned up and he was lining up against me, absolute nightmare. Not a fan.
Who would you rather, Sully or Tatua, who's named in the 20?
Neither. I'm sick that day. If my manager calls me, I'm sick that day. Terrible gastroenteritis. I've been on the toilet all day, boys. I can't make it today. As for the Seagulls, they're a good side. They've looked red hot. I mean, Kyle Lawton in the 12 shirt has been more than doing the job since he came in. He's looked absolutely quality. You see this time and time again, you give a player a chance and he'll run with it. Lawton's no different. Kepi in the 13 did the job there last week, keeps that 13 shirt as well, considering that Sipley's been having pretty decent stints off the bench as well. An argument to maybe if you wanted to put in a bit more of a bustling forward, Sipley could be a decent call. But I mean, I'm gonna go Seagulls on this one. I'm gonna back with my gut. I do worry about this one a lot. I mean, where's your thoughts lie with this one?
Immediate thoughts, even with the Origin out, I'm going Manly. The Canberra are coming off an absolute shellacking at home against not an out of sorts Titans team, but a team that was not expected to go down there and give that much for a run for their money in what is as full strength of a side as that the Raiders can put out at the moment. Tom Turbo, that sucks for Manly. That's a lot of their attack right there. But the last time Garrick did play, he was superb. So he was absolutely fantastic at the back for Manly. He's in a rich vein of form. It wouldn't surprise me if we see the likes of Dylan Walker potentially give Garrick a stint at or a bit of a rest at fullback. Walker tried to inject himself. The other option, obviously, is the straight swap between Cust and Walker. Foran would end up going into the 7, Cust to the 6. Walker goes 14, Croker at the 9, and Walker can play that floating 13 role that he played last week. So you've got some options there. Xavier Savage will make his proper debut and not the illegal debut as he did a month ago now, I believe it was. Very exciting. He's straight to my Supercoach team because I am struggling for players this week. And Supercoach is the only reason why I'm going to watch this game because I have no interest in it whatsoever otherwise. Frawley and Williams. You haven't heard of that pairing for many years, if at all. So it's going to be interesting to see how they work together with Savage out the back and Hodgson at the 9. Hodgson's going to have to step up and do a fair chunk of kicking, do a lot of directing out of dummy half. The forwards here are going to have to take a big step up if they're going to try and outpower this Manly side that has Paseka to Pau, Olakawatu, Kepi, and DeLuey. Oh, and Sipley, mind you, the try scorer from last week. And then you got the elusiveness of Carl Lawton, of Lockie Croker out of dummy half. Ben Trebojevic, when he comes on, this is a big yikes. I'm going Manly 13 plus. Anytime try scorers, you can make a case for any of the back 5 at any point in the game. Looking at Sportsbet at the moment, it didn't work last week, but I'll go with it again this week. Brad Parker at 210. Parker, I think if the numbers line up, goes up against Jared Croker. Again, Croker, the defensive turnstile that he is. It just makes a lot of sense there. Garrick at $2 is a definite shout. If you want to go some value, you could look at the Raiders and say someone like Croker at $3.75 isn't too bad. Parker, again, he's been known for his defensive lapses. If Croker comes up against Morgan Harper paying $2.63. Sorry, that is superb. Would absolutely take that. The other option, if he plays, I don't think he will, but if he does play, Matt Tomoko for the Raiders, currently in the 18, he'll just be too big and too strong. So if he gets a run, I'm going with him for the Raiders. But Manly 13 plus and Brad Parker for me.
Okay. I'm going to go with the Seagulls 1-12. Looking at previous results, 2019, 40 points to 18, going in favour of the Seagulls. 21st of June 2020, 14 points to 6 in favour of the Seagulls. On the head-to-head, they're relatively close. I just think that there won't be a high scoring. I don't think this will be a high scoring one. I think that both teams are going to be a little bit clunky with the halves pairings. Frawley Williams, as you mentioned, didn't have a lot of playing time together. Xavier Savage chiming in around the back, bit of a speedster. He's not going to be used for second phase play. He's going to be used to get on the outside of people, and he's going to be used to try and burn a gap. So it could be a shout for an anytime try scorer if they can keep that passage of play going. Again, Garrick, not a ball playing one. He's a finisher. You play him on the wing. He's had plenty of success out there. Been relatively underrated this season, despite the fact that he has got as many points as he has. Yes, he is the goal kicker, but even so, he's got a fair few tries to his name. Again, Foran and Walker, not a familiar halves pairing, but have had a little bit of time together. Cust, easy interchange in and out of the bench. You see it though. Sometimes you change too much through the course of a game with too many interchangeable players, and it can. It's too many spoons in the soup for that one, and too many chefs in the kitchen kind of thing. So I'm going to say 1-12 for the Seagulls. I'm going to say back the under on this one as well. And I don't fancy anyone for an anytime try scorer. I think it's going to be one of them low-scoring games where maybe a forward just finds a way over before half-time. But yeah, I'm going to say the under, and I'm going to go Seagulls 1-12. I'm anticipating a tight game for this one.
All right, paying $5 if you hit the double on Sportsbet. The under currently 48.5, which, if you look at Manly's past 11 games, they've gone over that 10 times, but it's also been with Tommy Turbo and Daly Cherry Evans for the most part. So, not a bad shout.
Exactly. Method in the madness. And speaking of a little bit more madness, we will get to the Rabbitohs and the Cowboys. Again, plenty of enforced changes. Of course, there is no Latrell Mitchell at fullback, so Taffy will get a run in the one shirt. Then it is Johnston, Burns, Graham, and Milne from year 2 to 5. Walker in the 6 with Reynolds at the 7. Obviously, Mitch Moses getting the call up over Adam Reynolds, so he will still be in a South shirt in the 7. Nichols, Marshall, and Burgess making up the front row, which Benji in the 9, questionable. I do have question marks around that one. Obviously, there is no Damien Cook. Fair enough. Kaloma Tungi, Sewer, and Selle are 11, 12, and 13. With Liam Knight on the bench with host Margot and the Greek international, who will hoping to be getting a feature at the World Cup this year, if it's still going ahead as planned. Mamazoulis, I think I've got that name right. Fingers crossed. I have. We've not butchered it for him. Over to the Cowboys, and again, plenty of changes. Dayan Arce will be in 1. Kyle Felt not picked this time around, so he will be in the 2 with Bowen in the 3. Lemuelu and Talagi in the other centre wing combo. And then it's Drinkwater and Dearden. Hess in the prop. Robson at 9. McLean at 10 with Wright and Dunn in the second rows. Taumalolo in the 13. Granville will be your utility 14 with Gilbert, Burr and Lukey as the remainder of the bench. Straight off the bat, I do have some real worries on this one just because of how makeshift that Rabbitohs interchange benches. You know, you got Liam Knight, who is they've got no real playmakers on their bench. You like to see the Rabbitohs change things up, switch things around. Usually, you got Benji in the 14 shirt, comes in, runs absolute havoc, creates issues wherever he can. And will not be the case this week. Benji Marshall in the 9. I cannot remember the last time that I've seen Ben in a 9 shirt. I mean, my NRL knowledge can be a little bit limited at time, but I mean, in a game that is as quick as it is now, your 9 is very agile, very quick out of dummy half. And to Benji's credit, yes, he's very quick still. He's still got plenty of pace in the legs, but he's not a Damien Cook style player. He's not an Api Coruscant style player who, you know, those are the players who teams have the most luck with at the minute. And it does worry me about how slow that Rabbitohs ruck area potentially could be this week.
I don't think you need to worry too much. Benji's not an out-and-out dummy half, no, but he is still a very good distributor of the ball. And you said that they have no playmaker. I would like to draw your attention to the aforementioned Mamozelis. Again, apologies if we butchered it. Not only did he sign a contract extension in the last couple of weeks that will guarantee his time at the club for the next couple of years, he'll be able to develop his game as an out-and-out hooker under one of the best in Damien Cook. So you do have that option, knock on wood, that something were to happen to Taffy or Walker or Reynolds. You can put Marshall in at the halves, and you know, Bob's your uncle. In goes the Greek international. Straight off the bat, I know you said that you're worried about this bench, but Rabbitohs 13 plus. The Dragons would have put the Cowboys to shame last week. That's how bad the Cowboys played up at Newcastle. It was so painful to watch. And yes, there's no Latrell out the back. Yes, there's no Cameron Murray, so you lose that agile 13. I mean, Mark Nichols is starting. That's a bit of a worry. But at the same time, this is still a Rabbitohs side that has one of the most prolific try scorers in recent history. One of the inform, if not the inform halves pairing that's not Cleary and Luai. They have an out-and-out legend of game night. They have a strong front row in Tommy Burgess. Kaloa Matangi has been in career best form. Hame Sele's had some great stints. Even Knight and Jacob Host in their limited game time this year have been superb. You then look at the Cowboys side. Tamalolo's not been his best. Cohen Hess is somehow still starting. Kyle Felt not been at his best. Talangi has been a bright spark. Drinkwater on and off. Dearden, since he's come up, has had more good than bad, but last week was real bad. Robson, most improved player in the NRL. That's not Isaiah Papali'i, probably. But his forward pack's not doing much to help him. I just don't see it happening for the Cowboys, and I know every time I say that, the team I say is not going to happen for always wins. But the bunnies here are odds on if you're trying to bet them like the horses, and you're taking the odds. Bunnies 13 plus at 157. Give me that. Can Alex Johnson continue his try scoring form? He scored doubles in I think 4 straight or 5 straight now. You could absolutely make another potential case for that one. It would probably be about 260. Yeah, 260. There you go. AJ, 2 or more tries. Bunnies 13 plus. If you think that maybe the Bunnies are struggling through the middle, Drinkwater could dart through on a bit of broken play. That's potential, but I have no confidence in the Cowboys this week. Bunnies 13 plus. Alex Johnson 2 tries.
Okay. I am I'm in struggle town at the minute. Population me. I do think that this one's got points in it. I just don't think it'll be a Rabbitohs blowout, as many people are predicting. I think the Rabbitohs could potentially be a little bit clunky. Yes, they've got their recognised 6-7 pairing, as do the Cowboys in what is an emerging 6-7 pairing. The worry for the Cowboys, obviously, you got Dayan Arce out in the fullback shirt, and no Tabuai Fido. You lose a lot of pace on your wings and on your flanks. They like to get those early kicks in and have him just chasing through, similar style to what Melbourne do with the Fox. But I'm thinking that it's going to be a tighter game than many expect. So I'm going to go Rabbitohs 1-12. I'm going to go take the over on this one. I think the over are probably sitting in and around 46.5 potentially, in and around that area.
47.5.
47.5, close enough. So we'll take that. And as for a Rabbitohs anytime try scorer, I'm fancying. I don't know why. I've just got the feeling that Adam Reynolds is going to take over, and he's going to back a gap himself, especially on a week where he potentially is feeling a little bit scorned about missing out on an Origin shirt, and he's got a bit of a point to prove. Obviously, he's in his last season, the Rabbitohs, and I can't help but feel that Reynolds will just show and go a gap himself. Obviously, Walker is predominantly your running player in the halves pairing, but I'm feeling that Reynolds goes through. So that's my 3 picks for this game.
Is he going to step on the dead ball line this week?
Let's not talk about that. Like I say, point to prove.
It gave me mad Sonny Bill Williams flashbacks from the World Cup.
Oh, God, at Workington against Samoa. Oh, yeah, hate to see it. Yeah, really hate to see it. Okay, with that then, we will get off some of the players' blemishes, and we'll get to the Bulldogs and the Bulldogs and the Roosters. My apologies. Oh, jeez. The heart rate is slightly elevated today.
19 minutes, 55 seconds. That's one for the blooper reel.
I promise this is a professional setup and we know exactly what we're doing. So it is the Bulldogs against the Roosters, and the Bulldogs' current lineup is Meaney in the 1 with Corey Allen still out on the wing in the 2 shirt. Hopawati, Hot Shoop is in number 4 with Katoa on the wing. Flanagan gets to run out against his former side in the 6 shirt with Avarillo in the 7. Questionable for me. We'll get on to why though soon. Hetherington in the 8, Katoa in the 9, and Thompson in the 10, with Waddell, Stimson, and Jackson making up the rest of your forwards. Ionde Odo is in the 14 shirt. He keeps his shirt from last week, with Napa in the 15, Ogden in the 16, and the rumoured to be on his way out, Reneth Atoni in the 17. As for the Roosters, obviously they have a fair few Origin stars missing. Most notable of all is James Tedesco, that number 1 shirt vacated and given to Joey Manu this week. Daniel Tupou in the 2 with Morris in the 3. The inclusion of Smith in the 4 with Ikavalu on the other wing. Drew Hutchison is back in the 6 shirt with Sam Walker in the 7. Waria Hargreaves has just had his disciplinary hearing. He holds up at the disciplinary, has only received a fine, so he is eligible to play. With Verrills in the 9, Takiao in the 10, Liu, Tupanua, and Radley in the 13, with Lockie Lamb, Egan Butcher, Nat Butcher, and Thomas on the bench for the Roosters. Roosters 13 plus. Agreed. Next game. Great.
No arguments from me here. Let me give you my try scorers, because I'll do my analysis in under 75 seconds here. As you mentioned, Roosters 13 plus. Manu scores. Billy Smith scores. Ikavalu scores. Tupu, however you want to say it. He probably has a double. I hope Xavier Savage goes over. I love him as a player. I really hope he does. Isaac Liu, the future Cowboy, goes over. He waddles over of Corey Waddell. Lockie Lamb probably scores one from dummy half, giving Verrills a break. Is it going to be 66-0 like it was last week against Manly? Probably not. Are the Dogs going to get 50 put on against them? Probably. The line, if I bring up Sportsbet real quickly, currently and amazingly is only 21.5. If you go down to the handicap markets and pick your own line, the Roosters, you can go as far as 44.5, and that is currently at $8.50. I am licking my lips.
Okay, there we go. I will be joining you. I'm going to push it as far as Roosters 30 on the handicap market. I'm going to say you back the over on this one. And as for an anytime try scorer, if I'm pushed to just pick one, I will be picking Joey Manu. All that probably in and around the $9 mark in a multi. No. Oh, okay. Not even close.
Oh, I highly doubt it. I'll pull up a same game multi, but you said Joey Manu is currently paying $2 and minus 29.5 was paying $2.73. So I'm going to hazard a guess and say it's probably about a $3.30 multi.
With the over as well, over on the points.
Ooh, well, there's your $3.30 without me throwing in the handicap. Let me see. Pick your own line.
Okay.
Of a minus 29.5, 525.
525. Okay. I was well off. Anyway, into some actual analysis of the game. Bulldogs, I don't know what the plan is here. You've got Kyle Flanagan as your ball playing 6, a player that you've constantly backbenched. You've got Avarillo as your runner in the 7, as your predominant ball player, potentially in your 7 shirt, despite the fact that he's a runner. I don't understand that. A guy that's, yes, he's had a good stint in the halves this year, but probably played some of his better ball out in the centres. Yeah, you got Shoop in there, who's been doing a serviceable job. You got Corey Allen, who you signed on decent money from the Rabbitohs. Again, you stick him out on the wing. Meanwhile, you got an outgoing Nick Meaney still occupying the 1 shirt. I don't get this selection at all. If Allen's going to be your big money signing and Nick Meaney's already on his way out, you put Allen in the 1, you bump Meaney to the wing, you run Flanagan in the 7, you have Avarillo running rampant down the middle in the 6 shirt and just have him popping up and causing issues wherever he can. As for the forwards, Hetherington and Thompson, big boppers, hard hitters, just absolutely just the leather people all day long. Draw the Roosters into the middle of the park, force them to play your game. Yes, they have Warrior, Hargreaves and Takiaho as your 8-10 battle, but still there's going to be a fair bit of whack in that contest. It's just the Bulldogs backline that just really, I don't like it. You got Red off Tony, who again rumoured to be on his way out. Being one of your better players, if you're going to try and use him as an impact substitution, maybe I get it. But if you're benching him over someone like Stimson or Waddell because you feel like they deserve an 11 or a 12 shirt over a Tony, again, selection headache. Not a clue why you've done that. As for the Roosters, I mean, they're just it's the Roosters. They're still missing quite a few key players, but still that lineup's it's freakish. You know, you've got Tupanua, who has been in the 15 shirt for the majority of the season, slotting in for Crichton. Verrills has come back into the 9 shirt because obviously Friend has retired and has done a good job in the 9. You know, Lockie Lamb bumped down to the 14. Vic Radley, absolute animal up the middle. Really, he'll go out. He's an enforcer. He'll go out. He'll look for people. He'll put the shots on. He'll get under the skin of players like Hetherington and Thompson, who both have the occasional high shot in them. And in this game where we can see players sent for 10 minutes and watch an entire 80 minutes unravel in front of your eyes in the space of just minutes, who's to say Radley doesn't go out, put a few shots on them and someone loses their head? You know, where Sportsbet, if you're listening, please introduce a sim bin at any time market, please. Because I have got a few players that I would like to be able to put some money on. Not even put money on. I'd like to print some money, please. I would like to print some money.
You have to behave, young sir.
I will be behaving to as much of an extent as I can. But with that, I think we move on. For if I speak, I shall be in trouble. And we'll go to the Sharks and the Warriors. And the Sharks, I mean, they've not got many changes this week. Kennedy is in the 1. Mulatalo's in the 5 because obviously he was told no Queensland spot for you. So now the New Zealand have said, don't worry about it, mate. There's a shirt here waiting for you if you want it. So silver linings and all that with Katoa on the other wing. Chambers and Ramian are your centres. Tracy and Johnson are your 6 and 7. Tolman, Woods are your props with Brayley in the 9. Decora, Wilton and Rudolph make up the rest of the forward contingent with Trindle, Talakai, Williams and Hamlin ULA on the bench. As for the Warriors, Reece Walsh is back. He will be running out in the 1 shirt. No Origin call-up this time around. Wateni Zalesniak keeps his space on the wing with Rocco Berry and Marcelo Montoya in the 3 and the 4, with RTS moved back to the wing. Nicarima and O'Sullivan are your 6 and 7, with Fanua Blake and Lodge in the 10. He will be making his Warriors debut with Wade Egan in the 9, with Katoa, Siranen and Tavonga as your 11, 12 and 13. Then it's Kane Evans, Lisa Namoa, Bunty Afoa and Siranen all making up the bench for the Warriors. I don't know which way to go on this one. I'll be completely honest. I'm going to be properly hedging my bets for this one. I do fancy the Warriors. I think that they've probably got a little bit more of a cohesive lineup than the Sharks do. And based on the Sharks and the form that they're in, that potentially worries me just the slightest little bit.
Don't know why you're stopping there. You could have kept going, mate, because I got no bloody idea. You have a Sharks team who absolutely blew it against the Broncos, who apparently found their mojo off a seedy Mo from Katani Stags. And you put them up against the Warriors side, who did their best impression of... I'm trying to think of a good comparison here. For those basketball fans that follow our page, the Golden State Warriors were up 3-1 against Cleveland. You know the rest of the story. I am leaning towards not offering a tip. Oh, this is such an awful game. Look, I'll give you some try scorers first. I think that's going to be the easiest way to go. For whatever reason, and I don't know why I keep going this way, but I'm going to say Nikorima again. He has to be a spark. He's got to be a spark this week. He has a fringe first grader in Sean O'Sullivan who has more bad than good. Granted, he had a couple of very good games prior to his injury, but he came back last week and just played like nothing, and it kind of just left Roger Tuivasa-Sheck to do a lot. I don't know, what the deal is there. He's at 375. I'm leaning towards him. Marcelo Montoya and Rocco Berry are $3 and $3.40. Whichever one of them lines up against Will Chambers, I'm going to offer that tip probably every week because more often than not, Chambers will let one in. I thought I was laughing all the way to the bank with Ramian, and then he decided to just run straight into the brick wall of gamble and nearly get sin bin for it because I could have sworn that he threw a punch there.
There were a couple of cheeky slaps.
Oh, it was great for the game. Great for the game. Love to see it. Bring back the biff. But Montoya or Berry, whichever one lines up against Chambers. Chambers is the left side for the Sharkies. Left side for the Sharkies would be the right-hand side for the Warriors. I think that's Montoya.
Montoya RTS.
So, no, both of those in, but that's Nikorima as well. Yeah, I mean, Connor Tracy could very well dart over from 5'8" as well. I thought Trindle did okay at 6, coming in with essentially half an hour of notice, but Tracy could very well go over from 5'8". Either team 1 to 12 is a safe bet at $1.53. I don't really know if it's going to be a blowout. I'm going to go and say Sharks just purely on previous form. Warriors do get Reece Walsh back. Roger can float. Nikorima can float. But this is Sean Johnson against the team he's going to be playing at next year. He's going to want to prove to his future coach and his future teammates that man's still got it. So I'm going Sharks 1 to 12. Either one of Montoya and Berry, whichever one is on the Chambers side. And I'll change it. I'm not going to go Connor Tracy. I'm going to go Sean Johnson, paying $4.33. Anytime try scorer. I'll multi that up in a second. Off you go, Matthew.
Okay, I'm going to go a little more risky. I'm going to just back the Warriors in this one. Warriors 1 to 12. I think after last week they have a lot of atoning to do. After whoever the medical staff were managed to remove whatever was in the Warriors' windpipe last week and made sure that they had sufficient oxygen circulation again after what was one of the biggest chokes I have seen in quite some time. The Warriors were poor. They've been poor for a little while now. But if you look at their losing margins, 18-19 last week, 6-10 the week before. Discount that 16-42 loss against the Storm, 28-29 against the Cowboys. The Warriors, typically their games are tight. They're tight games. The Warriors, it's just a case of whether they can pull it back or see a game out in some cases, and they tried their best. Well, they did their utmost to throw that game last week. The Sharks in exactly the same position, 26-18 last week. Up to that point before, though, they were on a bit of a hot streak, winning 4 games on the bounce, and those 4 games are counting for the majority of their wins. The Sharks are 6 out of 15 this season, and even when you go to the points, the points scored, 296 in favour of the Sharks, 305 points for the Warriors. Points conceded, 348 for the Sharks, 376 for the Warriors. It's just both of these teams have got points, but both of these teams have a tendency to struggle either seeing out games or staying in games. And I just think that for whatever reason this week, the Warriors are taking my fancy. I do like the inclusion of Walsh at 1 with Tuivasa-Sheck in the 5. I don't think you'll see much of Roger out on that wing. I think when it comes to structured play, you'll probably see RTS used very similar to Turbo Tom in Origin 2. In Origin 1, where you'll see him floating around. You won't see him on the wing. It'll just be that's where he defends. He'll spend a lot of his time, unless there's a set play, a coast-to-coast shift, sideline to sideline kind of move. But I'm going to go Warriors 1-12. If I'm going to go anytime try scorer, I think Wateni Zalesniak gets one this week. He lines up against the combination of Ramian and Mulatalo, who, yes, are probably the better defensive edge out of the Warriors, but out of the Sharks, but I just think that the Warriors are pretty good on the slide when they get that right, and if they can, that there's a chance that Mulatalo is going to bite inwards, and maybe even potentially Ramian. If Ramian bites inwards, he drags Mulatalo with him. That creates a space, and Wateni Zalesniak's over. So I'm going to say that Dallin gets over for that one, and I'm going to go Warriors 1-12. As for this one, I'd be tempted to back the under. Both of these teams do have defensive lapses. Both of these teams do have points in them, but I don't see there being a lot of points in this one. I think it'll be a pretty tight one. I think it'll be a pretty fiercely contended one, and that both teams will have a little bit more focus on defence this week than they did last.
So, Sharks 1-12, Marcelo Montoya, Sean Johnson, 3 legs, pays $40. You're going Warriors 1-12, Dallin, anytime, and under?
The under.
Oh, it helps if I pick Dallin and not Roger. Warriors 1-12, under 49.5, so under 50, and Dallin $12.
Bit of value.
It's a valuable game, this one.
It is, and do you know what? I think any of the games that we've gone over this week, with the exception of the Bulldogs versus the Roosters, really could go either way. So this might be a one where some of you keep signed out of some of your accounts. But if you're feeling brave and you're joining us, do let us know with a comment. I think that'll do us there. But if you've enjoyed the show, do let us know. Subscribe, like all our channels, and keep updated with everything that we're doing. But I guess it's just time to say goodbye and thank you for joining us once more. We'll see you around.
Yeah.